Goeiedag, kia ora. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment, subscribe, and yes, you are here today because it is always my pleasure and privilege to talk about the greatest sport in the world, rugby. And it is always my privilege to talk about the greatest rivalry in rugby, and that is the mighty Springboks versus the mighty All Blacks. And this will be a Rugby World Cup 2023 rematch, the one that we've all been waiting for all year. Okay, this match is bigger than Springboks versus, everybody would like you to think, Ireland. This is the biggest match of the year, and this is personal. Okay, Mr. Sam Kang has returned to the game, giving himself a chance to redeem that Rugby World Cup red card, and maybe, you know, it's not quite the Rugby World Cup final, but maybe a little bit of reprieve from that match and get that nightmare out of his head, just maybe temporarily. Yeah, so the All Blacks is out hungry, looking for revenge, and we know when the All Blacks is back against the wall, you never know what's going to happen. It's going to be brutal, it's going to be great, it's going to be the spectacle of the year that we all wanted to see. Now, a little bit of self-promotion. This thing is up. My website is up. You can go check out all the lineup, all the player stats at wildcardrugby.com. Everybody's up with their photos, okay? You will get exact details on every player. And this website will have no spoilers. So you can go back and check out all the games in the past, all of their lineups, who's playing, who was there, all of their player stats. There will be no spoilers on the website, so you can always use this, even if you're watching a replay, to help yourself out, to get an understanding who's playing in on the field. And yes, please feel free to support me with the operation costs of this website. And yeah, with that being said, a little bit of hashtag advertising out of the way. The big match this weekend, Ibn Esbeth, obviously the big boy, the big man, the lock, the, you know, long lineage of the Springboks locks. So Ibn Esbeth is back in the fold for the cream of the crop for the big match of the game, biggest match of the year against the All Blacks. Of course, he was initially suspected to be not available, and he did pass his fitness test and was larded last minute, literally today, to the Springboks team, and he's replaced someone on the bench, coming out of the bench. He's replaced, who was it? I think he was, he replaced, who was it? Was it, Van Staden? I think he replaced Van Staden from the bench. So, yeah, anyway, he is in, and that is probably the most important part for the Springboks. They were, you know, the locks is the backbone of the Springbok rugby, and Ibn Esbeth is the backbone of the backbone, and this is a really huge return for the Springboks. They have not put him in the starting position, which is a little bit interesting, but we shall see what time he's going to come on, and he's expecting to be making a big impact coming off the bench. The All Blacks had a bit of a turmoil last week themselves. Leon McDonald had left the camp due to disagreements between him and the head coach, Razor Robinson. And there's actually a bit of interesting, you know, news that was released out of the New Zealand media is the fact that Leon McDonald is going to get paid out pretty much his full contract in, like, you know, triple digits for this layoff. So it's clearly not because he wanted to leave, because if he just like resigned, then they only have to pay him, like, you know, like a severance, like a couple months, or like a minimum termination period, and that's it. But the fact is, this the Kiwis think that they have New Zealand Rugby have to actually pay him out a substantial part of his contract. It's leading a lot of speculations as to the real reason why he was, you know, maybe pushed out of the All Blacks, and maybe so there's expectations that maybe a substantial part of his 4-year contract, maybe 2 years, maybe even the entire 4 years, has to be paid out to him for this severance package. Yeah, so a bit of interesting going on there inside the behind doors of the New Zealand Rugby right there. Now, the history between the two teams goes back, I don't know, 100,000 billion years, and out of all that, All Blacks won about 99% of them. Just kidding. Just kidding, okay? Don't get upset. Don't get upset, okay? And yeah, so you know, obviously the All Blacks have won more games than South Africa overall, but in recent times, especially when Erasmus has taken over, Dr. Rassie has taken over the team, the South Africans have done quite well, right? If you look at, you know, since the Rugby World Cup, It's pretty much like a 50-50 affair. In fact, the Springboks might be slightly ahead. Yeah, pretty much a 50-50 ahead since the 2019. It's going to be brutal, and it's going to be once again one of the most exciting and intriguing matches of this entire calendar year. Yeah, and obviously the Rugby World Cup, who can forget? 14-player All Blacks lost by 1, 11-12. And it's going to be brutal. It's going to be quite exciting. And this game will be played at Johannesburg. This will be a really interesting place. Obviously, always sunny in South Africa, as we know. It's going to be on Saturday. A bit of a cloudy. That's different. I mean, I don't even know they had clouds. I didn't even know they had clouds in South Africa. But hey, always sunny in South Africa. And it's quite cool as well. 16 degrees in the afternoon. Nice and dry, slight bit of wind, and we'll have to see how that should be a perfect condition actually for a game of rugby. Yes. Now let's talk about the main event of this video, and that is the players that will be representing their respective nations with this honor and privilege of this monumental match of the Rugby Championship. Now, first up, Ox Nche will be starting again in the loose prop position. For the Rugby World Cup, he came off the bench and made an immediate dominant impact on the scrummaging, so the All Blacks would have really studied that tape and really hammered down on their scrummaging. Overall, the New Zealanders have drastically improved. Long gone the days where scrum is just a bit of a joke and everybody turned the TV off. The All Blacks scrummaging has been extremely dominant. They dominated England, they dominated Argentina despite losing the first game. And they maybe not the first game. There wasn't any scrum in the first half for like 60 minutes. But they beat Argentina in the second test with the scrummaging. And so they have drastically improved since the Rugby World Cup, and this will be a big test. I wouldn't say that it would just be a one-sided affair for the Springboks, and it's really intriguing because this will be like probably the number one, I would say, the number one and number two teams going head-to-head in terms of scrums, both in the starting and the bench. So Tamati Williams has been caught up at the number one position. Obviously, Ethan de Groot, I am Groot, was injured, have been sent home. Cody Taylor coming number 2 for the All Blacks, and Tyrell Lomax, once again, that veteran nowadays in the tight head prop position for the South Africans, Wildkard Incha. Bungi Umbonabi coming number 2, and Franz Malherba comes in at number 3. I think Tamati Williams, being pretty tall guy for a prop 196, might play into Franz Malherba a little bit. Franz Malherba is quite tall and upright himself, so we'll have to see how that's going to go. But I think the main area is whether or not Ox Nche is going to be able to leverage quite literally his height advantage of 176 over Tyrell Lomax of 192 and try get underneath him and get that bit of a squeeze and maybe pop Tyrell Lomax out on that tight head side. But Lomax is really difficult to get to, really solid, so maybe Nche will have a bit of trouble with that, and we shall see how that goes. In the locks position now, this is the bit where maybe a little reprieve has been given to the All Blacks, because the All Blacks lineouts hasn't been that great, especially when Scotty Barrett has been on the field. It has been pretty subpar against the English. So with all the injuries to the locking position, with Ibn Esbeth on the bench and still maybe have a little bit of lingering injury cloud, this could be a bit of a break for the All Blacks. Not nearly, if you told me that the All Blacks played the Springboks with, a couple of weeks ago with that performance against England, I would say that would just be like every line out. They would have lost literally every line out. Now, I don't think it's going to be nearly as bad. Peters of the Toy normally plays lock, so it's not like he's bad at locking. But I think that the addition to Tupo IE in the last few weeks has been really good for the All Blacks. And that is a massive improvement from the All Blacks in that line out. So Peters of the Toy, Ruan Nokia for the 4 and 5 combination. Very new. I don't think these two guys have ever played together in the locking position. I don't think they have. I don't think they have in locking positions. Scotty Barron, Tupovai. I think they may have worked together last year in the rugby in the team before, because both players have played together before in previous years under Ian Foster. So this wouldn't be a new for the All Blacks, but yeah, very new combination for the Springboks there. In the loose forwards now, Siya Kolisi. The man himself comes in at an open side flanker position. Ben Jason Dixon comes in number 7, and Jasper Visa returns from his 6-week suspension from the Tigers for the number 8 spot. And we'll be interested to see if they're going to pressure more of that kicking game now that Visa is back. Visa is one of the really good players at pressuring the high ball. especially when Faf is on the field. And yeah, we'll see how they're going to utilize him for that strategy. For the All Blacks now, Ethan Blackadder in the blindside flanker position. Ethan Blackadder is actually a really, really good lineout operator, believe it or not. He's really, like, the first time I remember when I saw him when he debuted for the All Blacks, I was immediately blown away. He came off the bench. I was immediately blown away how good he was at the lineout, especially as a third option in the far option. He just plucks the ball out of the air like picking up fruit in a farm, I guess. Probably what they do in New Zealand anyway. But yeah, he's unbelievably good despite being a so-called flanker. He's unbelievably good as a lineout option for the third option. Sam Kang returns to redeem himself in open side flanker position. His performance against Argentina, he had a brief performance in the second half, was a little bit okay. I mean, it didn't really make the impact that everybody was expecting of him. But hey, we'll have to see. You know, that was just kind of like him getting himself back into the groove of the Test rugby. So this will be his opportunity. I'm sure he will be taking that another level this weekend. Adi Savea, obviously, as always, the screaming man, comes in at number 8. In the back line now, number 9, Kobus Reinach will be starting for the Springboks. TJ Perenara, number 2, very similar style of players. Reinach maybe a little bit faster around the park, but TJ is a little bit better at maybe some of those dark arts of getting those penalties around the rocks. Coming in number 10, Sasha Fangberg Ngomezulu will be biggest test of his entire career. This is unbelievably difficult, unbelievably high pressure against the All Blacks, against Damian McKenzie, the veteran, 53 test caps already. And one of the things that, you know, both players ironically lacking is that direction without the support from the fullbacks. So Damian McKenzie in this game has the pleasure and maybe the fallback of Beauden Barrett being the second playmaker, whereas Sasha, the big dogs upstairs, Rassi Rasmus, has taken off the training wheels, so to speak, on the bike and left him with Apalele Farsi instead of the veteran Willie LaRue that could give him guidance for the playmaking, in the playmaking duty. So Sasha is completely left on his own, and this is gonna be, I think, maybe a slight edge to Damian McKenzie, because Damian McKenzie, when he gets in the zone, he's incredibly good. He's just a matter of managing his emotions, not getting overwhelmed, and we'll have to see how this is gonna go for Sasha. And also, we haven't quite seen what sort of style Rassi Rasmus wants to play with Sasha yet, because against the Wallabies in the first test, Sasha was more of a running style, where when Willie LaRue was doing most of the kicking, whereas in the second game, Sasha was more of a kicking style, so we're not quite sure where they wanted to settle with the style they want to play for him. But long-range kicks is definitely in play for both players, so both of them can kick 50-plus meters, with Geordie Barrett probably can go 55, maybe a bit of advantage there for the All Blacks. Sasha can kick 55 as well, so it's not really, like, it's quite even overall in terms of the kicking, goal kicking. Curdy Allen's coming in at 11. Caleb Clark, a lot of everybody's been talking about, he should be taking up the center jersey at number 13 over Rico. I agree too. I think he's just such a good size about him, and he's very dominant for the Blues, very dominant for the All Blacks, playing against Argentina, especially in the second test. And it's good to see that he's back in the number 11 jersey. There's definitely a big size advantage between the two. 108 kilos for Caleb against 82 kilos of Curdy Ardens, and height as well, 176 to 189. So this will be an area that the All Blacks might try to exploit a little bit. Curly Allen's obviously no slouch. Coming number 12 now, Damien De Linda and Jesse Krill, the defensive prowess for both players, and also the brutal carry game from Damien De Linda will be something to look out for. Geordie Barrett, some people have criticized me recently, especially you guys in the comments, that his carry game is not quite there. And yeah, he really needs to step up a little bit to try to match Damien De Linda in that physicality front when it comes to the carry game. Riku Ioane came out number 13, another guy that's been underperforming a little bit. I think that the coaching staff has settled on experience rather than maybe form. I think Anton Leonard-Brown is in a better form right now for the All Blacks for the 13 jersey. Coming up number 14, Cheslin Kobe, and Will Jordan getting his second test back into the fold for the All Blacks. We'll have to see. This will be Rugby World Cup rematch, and this is two of the greatest wingers in the world right now, and we'll have to see how they're going to fare up against each other. Finally, in the fullback position, Apalele Farsi against Beauden Barrett. Go Beauden! And Farsi, like I've talked about, some of you guys have mentioned to me that he's actually really good at kicking game as well, but so far under the reign of Rassi Rasmus in the test match, he's mostly as a counter-attacker and not a kicker, right? Not someone that likes to kick the ball away whenever he gets it. So we'll have to see how that goes, but he's exceptionally good under the high ball. So maybe that is an area they wanted to target. Maybe that's an area that they were expecting the All Blacks to play, but we'll have to see how All Blacks going to mitigate it, because he's really dangerous if you kick the ball to him. Give him some space to work with, and it really comes down to how Beauden Barrett manages it. Sometimes Beauden has some pretty shocking kickings, and yeah, you might just end up getting into that trap and allowing Fassi to counter attack and putting you under a lot of pressure. In the back line, in the reserves now, this is where the game could be won and lost. Malcolm Marx came in number 16, Stinekamp comes in number 17, and Vincent Koch, the big Koch, comes in number 18. Now this is I think there's a slight edge for the Springboks on the bench for the scrummaging. Or Asafa Amoa had a bit of line-out issues, so hopefully he's improved on that. Ofa Tuanga Fasi, very good season in the loose set prop for the Blues. But again, Vincent Koch, Rugby World Cup winner, boring in on you in that tight head position into the hooker. Ofa Tuanga Fasi is going to work really hard to try to straighten that out. This will be a very, very, very interesting battle here. And finally, Fletcher Newer against Stinekamp, both very solid players. Similar style in terms of setting the way they set the structure for the scrum. So the key battle here is between Ofa and Vincent Koch to see who is going to be able to get the angle on the opposite setup. Eben Esbeth comes in at number 19, and Sam Darrell had a pretty stellar performance, has earned himself a spot on the bench at 19. And number 20, Alreich Low for the Springboks. Obviously, they love that extra size. And Semapenny Finau, with the size of their own, coming off the bench for the All Blacks. Really started opening for size. 115 kilos, 110 kilos, both are pretty much locks. Finau does play blindside flanker as well, so just more size on the bench at 126 kilos for Eben Esbeth. Obviously, the biggest bicep as well. Will be adding a lot of weight there. Carrying those huge guns around, surely is worth about 20 kilos a piece. And then we've got 21, Huaga Smith, Alberta Smith with 21 to finish off the game for the Springboks. The impact player, the one that wins all the games for the Springboks. Cortez Radama had a stellar season so far, and a lot of people have been calling for him to start, and it's good to see that he's getting more opportunities on the bench. Number 22, Grant Williams. Grant Williams for all the English speakers out there, coming for the Springboks. And number 22 for the number 9 jersey replacement. And Anton Leonard-Brown is outside center or inside center replacement for the All Blacks. And number 23, Andre Pollard, finally the veteran off the bench. And again, he's going to play inside center. And, the Rassi Erasmus likes to pull players with a bit of a diversity, and he likes that option to have on his players, just due to injuries and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, another opportunity for Pollard to polish that up, and maybe he'll go to fullback. Maybe he'll go to 10 and have Sasha go to fullback if Apalele Fasi isn't working out as well. So that's another option that they can go for. And finally, Mark Talea finish off the team at number 23 for the All Blacks. So yes. Oh, the referee. I forgot. The most important man on the field. Andrew Brace from Ireland. Is he Ireland? Oh, he's Wales. He's Welsh. I thought it was English. No, No, he's born in Wales. He's Irish. That's what I thought. He's Irish. He represents IRFU. So yeah, Andrew Brace will be his work in the URC. So probably more familiar with the All Blacks. With the Springbok setup than the All Blacks. And with new law changes, we'll have to see who's that going to favor. I think the All Blacks might benefit with law changes when it comes to, the line-out no straight. All Blacks having a bit of line-out issues, so that benefits them. The halfback not being able to challenge, I think that's kind of even for both teams. And probably the most important, the 20-minute red card, something that the All Blacks really could have saved the All Blacks Rugby World Cup if that was a 20-minute red card to Sam Cane instead of a full, send-off. And so definitely a bit of advantage there. My predictions, this will be, I think I'm actually going to give a slight edge to the All Blacks just because how many injuries they had on the Springbok side. And I just think that Sasha's going to really get tested. This is a completely different level from the Wallabies. And without Willie LaRue at the fullback position, not even Willie LaRue is not even on the bench. I think the Springboks might have to put on Pollard earlier than they would like and at the 10 jersey I saw it instead of and then put Sasha at a fullback to try to maybe pull the game out. But I think that the All Blacks have an edge of 1 point. Okay? 13 points to 12 to the All Blacks. Okay? 13 points to 12 to All Blacks. And, yeah, let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. And thanks for watching the video. And have a good one, guys. I'll see you guys later for the Wallabies preview. Cheers.